Welcome to Angels, Positivity, and Love. Amazing guests, incredible insights from the world over. We're in our second year now. We've gone to 3 shows a week. Please comment when you've got something you can react to. Even just, I love this show. That works great. It allows others to get to see the show. The algorithm reacts to your comments, but also you can just hit the like button, subscribe, and also just enjoy this. We've got an incredible expert today from Atlanta, Georgia. She's been on the show before, episode 10 back in 2023. 2.5 hours of material there. We did a lot then. She shared a lot then. You don't want to miss that. She's also been on a couple of our mind, body, spirit panels. You'll love her there as well. She's back. She's incredible. She's got a doctorate in consciousness studies. She's a pranic healer, a healer. It runs in her family. I'm just going to say she's a walking metaphysical encyclopedia as well. She's a super expert on a lot of fronts, but she keeps it real and she keeps helping others. I love what she does. Totally authentic. It's Ursula Lentine in Atlanta, Georgia. Ursula, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Michael. I think I need to take you wherever I'm going. That was a lovely introduction. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's good to see you again. And, we get to bump into each other, I'd say now quite a bit and hopefully more in the future. I'm a big fan of yours. I know you obviously take the healing role very seriously. You've been helping people for a long time. You've had literally over 5,000 booked client sessions for others. And you've, done a lot of speaking engagements, been a guest on a lot of shows, and more than that, you're an author and so on. So you've checked a lot of those boxes. Can you just share with us a reminder on how you got onto this path and sort of just tick through pranic healing, and some of the other stuff you do for folks?
My grandmother was reading tea leaves at her kitchen table, and we just thought it was normal. Her sister was leading pilgrimages to Fatima and had life-size statues of Jesus and Mary in her living room instead of furniture. So that was just normal growing up. We didn't really think anything of it, just a little strange, whatever, but everybody was full of love and kindness and just very warm-hearted, good people. So my grandmother, I'm her namesake, was very influential in my life. She had her own kneeling bench and her own altar up in the upstairs bedroom. She always had rosaries in her hand. She had pancreatic cancer that lasted for 4 years, and that's usually a quick one. So, and then she decided when she was going to go. So it was very, just her love really influenced me. And then I thought I was a normal person and that, that really wasn't true. I tried though. When I did modeling and acting in my early 20s, I think I got lots of jobs because of my light, right? Because I would beat out the competition, and it's not competition, but the other girls. And I think because my light was emanating and they saw something different within my style, I'm pretty sure that was happening. I studied so much material and spirituality, anything I could get my hands on in my early 20s in Los Angeles. And there was plenty. So I've always been on my path. And then in 2008, when the crash happened, I had my broker's license. I was running 2 real estate companies. I was on the board of, realtors in Atlanta and, just rocking it in business. And then the whole industry collapsed. And then I said, okay, that's not funny. I'm going to just do what I like to do. And that's it. So for 2 years, I got all my credentials and studied. And then 2010, I opened the doors and I'm up to over 6,000 sessions now, private sessions. And then I teach many classes, and I've been leading a Twin Hearts meditation every Tuesday since 2008. So it's been just a dedication of mine. I can't imagine just being a quote unquote normal person anymore. This is really my whole lifestyle. And I'm a minister with Centers for Spiritual Living, but I feel like I've always been a minister because I live a life of service. So
I was just going to pull a clipboard up to mention that last bit, but can you mention one other last bit, which would just be the twice a year or 3 times a year, the pranic healing classes you're authorized to teach as well?
Yes. So pranic healing, prana means chi or life force energy. And Master Choa Kok Sui was a chemical engineer. as goofy as I can get sometimes, especially with you. You bring out my goofy side. I am very logical and practical, very realistic, pretty grounded for a spiritual person. I study quantum physics, metaphysics, spirituality. That's that consciousness studies doctorate that I have. And he is so logical and practical that anybody can understand energy healing and use it for medical issues, use it for self-cleaning of our energy body, manifesting, all kinds of stuff. So it's a science within an energy healing. So it doesn't even, you don't even have to believe it, and it still works. I teach the level 1 basic class, and I do teach that twice a year so people can learn to heal themselves. And mostly I think what people need to use this for is self-care, so they don't have to go to the doctor, so other people don't bother them and irritate them, so they can calm themselves down and have more clarity in their life so they can move forward in their dreams instead of having all these personal obstacles. But the main thing I really do is the internal family systems, which is the subconscious work. And I think that's the most rewarding work for people to come and do, because they can go in and heal out all the trauma that they've had in their life. But more so, we carry trauma from our ancestors, mother's side, father's side. We don't even know why we're afraid of fire, or why we have this addiction, or why we can't seem to overcome this thing, or whatever. Epigenetics is proving it's in our DNA now. So we have to move forward without just looping and looping and looping. Willpower doesn't beat our programming. It's like in a computer, the hard drive. So in order to move forward, we have to go in and take some of these anchors out that we've been carrying for generations, heal it with loving kindness, and then the energy really flies.
Okay, now, what have you been learning either in 2023 or in 2024 that's not surprised you, but growth and expansion never stops. What's been happening either last year, this year? What can you share for your own development?
I've been seeing the dark side more and more clearly. I've always had suspicion, like, I think there's some bad stuff going on, but I never could see it. Now I can see it, and I'm like, oh, dang it, we got to get rid of that. And then at first I was afraid, and then after I studied and really understood what's going on, I'm realizing that we're in a shift. Everything's in cycles, right? So the 2,000-year shift, bringing us to the age of Aquarius, old crap has to come out and get siphoned off at the top and thrown to the wayside. My grandma Ursula used to make this giant pot of spaghetti sauce, and she would put pig's feet in there because that was the original Sicilian recipe. I wouldn't eat it now because I'm like, pig's feet, but whatever. So the fat from the pig stuff would come on the top, and then you'd have to take the thing and then take it out and get rid of that. But the flavor was in there. To me, all this dark, nefarious, I'm not even going to name the names,
Right.
is coming up so all of us can see it, so we can take this off of the top, toss it out, and then more heaven on earth, which I believe is where we are. We just haven't been told that or taught that. And then we can really start living from our gifts, serving one another, loving one another, feeling joyful about getting up in the morning and just executing the day in a beautiful way where we can just share love and kindness and peace. Like, that's the program. I think we've just made too many mistakes along the way. And now it's time for us to really live the beautiful life that we were meant to live. Because if you talk to kids and you say, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? And they'll be like, oh, I want this and I want this and I want this. And some kids are like, I don't know. I don't even know what's out there. And I say, well, who wants to help other people? They all raise their hand, shoots straight up in the air. And we just really do. We want to serve one another. We want to bring a smile to each other like you do in your work. Your job is to make people laugh, but you're really uplifting and raising their vibration. So that's what I think everybody wants to do in their own way, whether it's running a business or lawn care or babysitting or making cupcakes. Like, we all just want to share our love.
Okay. and don't tell anybody about what I do, but why should people come to you?
Why should they come to me?
Yeah, if they're stuck in some way, what's like the three typical most common reasons a person's like, ah, I gotta go see Ursula?
Yeah, they're done. They are so fed up. They're toasty, they're done. They're just like, I can't do this anymore. I've done the therapy, I've gone see the doctors. Like, I'm so fed up with the way things are going. I have to get out of my own way. I don't care how, just fix me, just help me. Or they have an idea of what I do and they're like, oh my God, she can help me. She's the one, she's my person. The other thing is referrals. People are just like, you need to see her. She's helped me quite a bit. Go see her. And then we talk and find out what's going on. I have this thing called Clarity Call, and they tell me what they're working on these days because no one's really broken. They're just finally facing, that monster inside or this thing or whatever. They're going through some kind of transformation in their life and they've never really been at that place and they just need assistance. I feel like I'm the GPS system and I can get them where they want to go.
Okay, now I'm going to kind of pre-answer the question I'm going to ask you because it's only one of those eternal questions. It's what are angels? And I'll just buy a little time. They come in all shapes, sizes, colors, all sorts of backgrounds from all over within you, around you. They live. They learn from us, but from our perspective, they're perfect. They can see the entire landscape and give you any answers to anything. But can you give us a more, you've got practical experience? And let's back up. Have you seen angels? Yes or no?
I feel angels. So when you say see, I'm more clairsentient, where I feel and experience things rather than visually have a seeing things. So there's us who are incarnated and we're souls. We're incarnated souls. And then there's ghosts. So they were a person and they want to hang out. Usually a mom who doesn't want to leave her kids, or there's a rapid accident that happened and they just don't know where to go. They're stuck, or they have a secret that they have to tell. So there's a few reasons why ghosts exist, but they were incarnated and now they're ghosts. And then on top of that, there's spirit beings. So they were not necessarily incarnated. Some may have been, but they're assigned. So they may come from other galaxies, other dimensions. So they're kind of an in-between. And then maybe a couple more layers up, there's the angels. They have never incarnated because they're too pure. So they are here to help guide us, protect us. Sometimes they're messengers, and there's angels for everything. One of the pranic healing masters is Master Nona, and she used to be a mother superior in the Catholic Christian modality, and she had over 1,000 nuns under her. So she was super high level, and I don't know the story behind the story, but she's no longer that, and now she's a teacher of energy healing, Master Nona. And she says there are legions of angels available to us. We just have to ask for their help. So there's angels for anything. There's angels for help me find the car keys. There's angels for like help me find the dress that I need to be wearing tonight. So any kind of thing that we need, we can say for the angels who can help me with such and such, please come in. Our receptivity is like the hole that we're asking for. So if we're saying, okay, I totally believe in you, come on in, they can come in and help us. Or maybe you exist, like, can you help me a little bit? So they'll come in. But again, any relationship, we're building trust, and it's us not trusting. So the more we trust and say, I am provided for, I am guided, I am protected, we can walk with that confidence, knowing like as if behind us, and those angels, they're not small, they're not our size, they're very large, and they don't really have a shape, they're more light. There's some density so you can see something, but there's a lot of there's like a glow to them, and they come in an amazing way. It's almost that you stop in awe when you feel the presence of an angel.
What's an angel story you want to share with us? Something happened, you needed assistance. What were the details?
Well, I was in Antigua. I lived on an island. for 10 years, a private island off of an island in a third world country, 5 hurricanes, okay, with an angry husband. So one night there was a comet, and it looked like somebody had punched a hole in the sky and was shining a big giant flashlight. And I went out in the middle of the night, and I had 4 dogs, and they all came out and followed me. And I was standing in the water, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm not okay anymore. Like this, there's got to be a way out. Like, help me. And that comet thing, it's as if it came close, right? It was way out there, but somehow it's as if it came close. And I don't know, like it was beyond the brain. Something shifted, and I went, oh, and this sound that my body had never made before burst out. And then I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And then ever since then, I've been okay. So that was an angel.
Wow. And is that one of the ingredients that got you onto this path?
I think so. Because you only in retrospect, right? Because you're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And you can see the dot to dot, not a line, not the graph that goes like this, but the thing that goes like this, looks like a scribble scrabble. That's like graph, like how do you get from here to here in regular life? I think you can say, oh, look, age this and this thing and that thing over there. And then that's when I happened over here. And that's when that's when I met that person. And then you can put the dots together and see the constellation of the growth pattern.
Okay, now everyone's got a unique life path, their own special journey. We might not be waking up to it. It depends where someone's at and if they want to this lifetime. What can you talk to us about when it comes to the life path, no limits, and how it kind of has to do with your own free will? Can you kind of talk to us about that?
Yeah. If people are not living their purpose, they're not going to be okay. They will be unsettled. So we can just use unsettled as the as the top of the right underline, unsettled. That looks like addiction, anxiety, depression, troubles with marriage, troubles with money, troubles with communication, unhappy, can't sleep, overweight, no friends. All of these things say unsettled. When someone is not on their purpose, they don't know why they're here. They don't know what their life is supposed to be. They don't know what their talents are. And it's a very uncomfortable place to be because they know there is something. There is something for them. If we said, oh, there's nothing for you, you're just a waste of blood. Just sit there and be okay with that. Then they'd be like, ah, yeah, I'm fine. Whatever. But they're not. No one is like, yeah, I'm not living my purpose, so what? They're not, yeah, I'm not living my purpose, so what? With the alcohol, right? So I think when people are on purpose, even if they're overweight or finances or whatever, it's not an unsettled feeling. They know, like, yeah, this is my jam. This is why I'm here. This is my talent that only I have in the certain way. Yes, you can be a financial advisor, and there's millions of them, but not the way you do it. And there's just a knowing when we're living on purpose. And it doesn't mean you have to have one purpose. Your purpose can change throughout your life.
Okay, for making requests of the universe, angels, your guides, helpers, ancestors, can you just show us a couple ways that a person can get started, like right now? They're watching us, but we can't hear them. They might be 20, 30 next week. They're in New Zealand. We're not going to hear them. So right now, as you're saying this, they can be saying this. What are just 1, 2, or 3 surefire methods that they can start using now before they reach out to contact you?
To find their purpose.
To just get help.
Okay. Nature.
Yeah.
Nature. I will say it 1,000 times after every session. The person is conked out because people are like, oh, do you see people in person? I say, no, I see them online so they can take a nap after our session. because they're in a zone. I've taken them to a super deep place and they're kind of out. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna sign off now. Make sure to spend at least 20 minutes in nature, specifically listening to the birds and touching the trees, and at least 5 minutes of that barefoot. Not because it's a good idea, but because there's actual science behind it. When people go through a shift during a session, they need to recalibrate, ground again, so the new version of them, can be fully present, because it's hard to be an old person and a new person at the same time. You want to completely drop the old person and be that fresh person. And nature recalibrates us, and it will set our brain back to a parasympathetic state, because when we're off center, we're making poor decisions. When we're in nature, we settle in, and the longer you spend in nature, the more you will settle in, just opposite of the unsettled. Because if you ever walk in the woods and you come in kind of charging with your city energy, the woods is like, somebody's here, But if you slow down and you're like, hi, woods, I'm coming in, and you go in a slower pace and you're not so crunchy and your electronics are off, the birds are like, oh, she's cool, and they still continue to make their noises, and the little critters will run. And then you'll get into the vibration. They call it forest bathing, but it's just being in the woods. Then you'll get into the vibration of the woods, and you'll be like, okay, this is cool. A little light beam coming in between the leaves, a little bird flying across, a cool thing, a shape on the bark, or having to step over something and take your time. Bring all of those things, bring us into the magic of the woods. You're a water person, so when you're in the water, you're like, hey, I'm in my jam. So any kind of beach people, whatever, nature, it's free too, right? Not to mention, you don't have to go to the Himalayas to get nature. You can go to the local park. And I think that's the strongest thing that people can do, is get rid of your devices, go in nature, and just hang out there as long as you can. That's one. The second one is the boring self-care. Drink enough water, get enough sleep, stay away from sugar, stay away from, cigarettes and alcohol, stay away from toxic friends, live a very whole life. Wholesome is a word we don't use anymore, but the more wholesome we can live a life, less TV, less electronic everything, sitting around talking to your relatives on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday dinner. These kinds of things are very wholesome and timeless, right? People have gathered and eaten together for thousands of years. Might be something to that. And that's a wholesome lifestyle. And the third thing is just to get quiet with ourselves, just to sit and be in the silence. Watch the thoughts go by, but don't get hooked. Be like, okay, whatever. That's not important. That's not interesting. And then that's one technique. Another one is to follow the breath. Name it, inhale, exhale. Don't lead the breath. Guess what? We're breathing all day long. You don't need to be in charge all of a sudden. So just kind of spy on the breath and go like, oh my God, it's amazing. My body is breathing all day long. Let's inhale. I think it's exhaling now. And just stay with that. And then the other thing is I do the Twin Hearts meditation every Tuesday night. Come join that, because that meditation has actually been studied, and they've done a research that says it really changes the brain over time. And it does, because I see it all the time happen. People come and they come for a few weeks and they're like, the funniest one, a New York lady with a squeaky voice and can't stop talking. And she's like, I just want to tell you, we're like, and she's like, my people at the office, they told me whatever I'm doing, keep it up, because I'm a better person. I'm easier to work with. And the only thing that I've done is come to this meditation. Only thing different. It was so funny, but I mean, that was the most obvious thing like that. Another guy got into like a fender bender. And he also was from New York, big guy. And he's like, I tell you, this meditation really works. You know, any other time in my life, I would have beaten that guy up for bumping into me. But this time I was so nice and we just exchanged information. I got in my car and left. I don't know what's happening to me. I can't even recognize myself.
I love it. Thank you for hitting my car. You made my day. And here's my insurance information.
Right.
You should probably give me yours. Um, okay. It's been said love is the fabric of the universe. Can you talk to us about how big it all is and how we're easily a big part of the picture from our perspective?
Yes. I was just thinking about this today. You know, when you look at an ant, I mean, I don't know how many people hang out with ants, but when you were a kid and you had to go outside and just that you would see ants and you'd be fascinated by ants, and they're very, very busy and they have no clue that we exist. I feel like we're ants and the angels and the other and the spirits and like they're all watching and they're like, oh my God, these people have no idea that we're watching and we're like cheering for them and we're like sending them like, please make the right decision. I think a lot is counting on us. But again, we have not been told. We've not been told this is heaven on earth. We've not been told how powerful we are. We've not been told how magical we are. We've not been told how resourced we are. So we've been dumbed down and placated and made ignorant and poisoned with the foods. Like, I think on purpose, because if we really knew how powerful and mighty we are, we could make lots of shifts. When we win here on the planet, we score points, so to speak, for our ancestors who try to get it right, try to get it right, try to get it right. For the generations before us, right? The colors of our skin and the different tribes that we've all belonged to, and our cruelty that we have had on others, our dismissal of people who don't look like us and don't act like us. I mean, these things have to get cleaned up. This is not correct. And I think what's happening is we're becoming more and more aware of that. Like, oh, we can't continue that. That's not right. That's not good. That's not healthy. So I think as we soften our hearts and we stop all the chaos that's being fed to us and understand those people do not have my best interest in mind when they're selling me all this junk, when they're invading my space, when they're doing all this TikTok and Instagram and all this distraction. I'm like, no, that's not for my benefit. That's for somebody else's benefit. What's for my benefit? Oh, to put that away, to sit and have a conversation with somebody I care about, to sit with my fire, to go for a walk, to play with the plants in the backyard. That's timeless. That's energy being exchanged. I feel better. I'm a better person when I do the things that feed me. So when we're feeding ourselves with goodness, we have to turn around and share it with other people. And when we're sharing it with other people, we're also sharing it upstream and they get the benefit as well. So I think we're like, you know, when there's a boxing ring and everyone's voting for the guys on, you know, I think we're like in the boxing ring and we're like, why am I here? Who am I? And they're like, please make the right decision. We're counting on you.
Okay, the difference between thinking and the heart, there's two different energies. You can go a long time in life and not even know there's a difference in flow. Thinking, I'll just throw some labels on it. It's part of ego, the psyche, the intellect. It does a lot of judging, a lot of knowing that precludes possibility, resisting, reacting, rejecting, fear-based, worry, stress, guilt, 1,000 other lower vibrations, sort of like a downward piano scale. And on the upward is all the stuff and conditionality, limits, and time. Whereas it's timelessness, unconditional love, awareness. So grow your awareness, not your thinking. A lot of other stuff that's like that. But all your fun moments in life happen here. Can you take us through all that?
Yes. Excellent question. In this human experience that we're having, when we are children, I say we came straight from heaven. That's why they're so, you know, like shiny and bright and in a place of awe and fascination. And then around age 2, we realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm not as connected as I thought I was. There's a separation because I'm crying my head off and they're not coming. So when we sense separation, it hurts, right? So that's separation from the divine nature that we are, separation from where we came from, separation from the truth of who we are, separation from our intuition. So these things are all heart-based, soul-based. So I believe the heart is the portal to the soul. So when we feel a depth of love that's so beyond, that's coming from our soul. That's coming from this vast amount of cultivated love over development of our soul. When we feel too much pain and disappointment, like, this is how we do things in heaven. Why are you all being mean to me right now? You know, why is this experience so harsh? Like, I know I signed up, but like, this is a little too much. So then we think, oh, I know what to do. I'll just live in my head so I don't have to feel the pain in my heart. So we run as fast as we can because there's some bad things going on, you know, abuse or neglect or any of that stuff that happens in our family lineage that just gets handed down because no one can figure it out. Can't blame them. But in the meantime, who's responsible? When we jump into our head and we try to figure it all out, right? Beat them to the punch, become a perfectionist, like you said, that list. And that list also goes into the unsettled list, right? I feel sad, I feel less than, I feel whatever I feel. And then you go to the unsettled list, coping strategies, addiction, you know, depression, anxiety, workaholic, power over people, climbing the corporate ladder, all of those things, because there's pain and suffering. So you see, there's 2 lists and they're back to back. When people finally get, like, their life crashes and burns and they're like, okay, there's got to be something better. I still don't know who I am or why I'm here. In spirituality, we talk about the 18 inches is the spiritual path from here, and we go back down into our heart. But what's there? The pain and suffering that we left the last time. So that's where the healers come in. That's where the meditation comes in. That's where walking comes in. That's where nature comes in. That's where sound healing comes in. That's where, you know, detoxing and all the things that spiritual people do. So we can break that stuff up. In the subconscious work, I'm really breaking these layers up. When we can finally break them up, and get into that spiritual space of that deep soul connection, self-love, self-respect. And then, of course, we turn it to others and give more love and respect outwardly as well. That's the sweet spot.
I'm going to give you 4 different quotes. It could be Eckhart Tolle, Einstein. It could be an angel, Chogyam Trungpa. We'll see. Okay. From Dolknife, Native American Chief Unconditional Love Spirit Guide. He was asked what to know about angels. He said, pay attention, they are here. They are waiting by your side when you need them. Seth from the 1970s, Light Being People Can Meet. This is, I think, 1971, maybe from the Nature of Reality book. Seth said to us, the answers to the nature of reality, the intimate knowledge of all that is, that you all seek, is within your present experience. And I'll do just one more. Plato said this in 2015, the philosopher, allowing, in quotes, is the torch to illuminate the cave's exit. This is compassion. That's deep. Where do you want to go with that? Talk to us about any aspect of any of that.
Well, we had mentioned the angels. Remember, I was saying there's angels everywhere and there's angels for everything. So you just kind of validated what I said on that other one. But when the cave, tell me about the cave again. He says say it again.
Yes. Allowing, in quotes, is the torch to illuminate the cave's exit. This is compassion.
Okay. That's so beautiful. In these columns, right? The pain and then the adaptive behavior. So there's pain and suffering, and then we'd go through the addiction and all of that, that unsettled. That's like a dark experience. It's a low vibration on that scale of consciousness. That's like being in the cave. We resist. So why we are doing all of these behaviors is we're resisting feeling all of this pain. Because once you go into pain, you're kind of there and you don't know. There's no outside the cave in the pain, unless someone's there holding your hand. And unless you know, like, this pain is just a short journey. If I go through the pain, there will be hope. There will be allowance. So to say, I'm going to allow the pain, I'm going to allow feeling the pain that my father died when I was 5. I'm going to allow feeling the pain that, all the kids beat me up at school. I'm going to allow feeling the pain, all the different traumas, right, that we have. And we go into the pain. Just have a healer with you. They'll hold your hand. They know the road. You won't slip and fall. It'll be hard, but if you have somebody with you and you allow to go through the pain, on that other side, there is light, because you go kind of in a way back before the pain, because you heal the pain. A lot of people don't understand the healing piece of it. We have to heal this stuff. We can't pretend it doesn't exist. That's where that unsettled goes. La, 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 right? People. No, just go on in there, face it, become stronger. And on the other side, there will be light, and you will be free from it. Because when people run addiction, they're like, oh, look, it's all gone. And I'm like, no, that's the 3-hour thing. And then tomorrow you have regrets. And now you've just, added something to the negative bank account. So just keep going through the pain, face it, allow it. It's a part of our human evolutionary process.
Before we get to lighting some sage, kind of a classic staple on the show, and before we get to bringing in some angels and having you interact and share what you get from them, let's do one last sort of quadrant in this whole spirituality landscape, or just talking about life. Everyone's good where they are right now, and that includes deep thinkers who would never allow for the concept of compassion or kindness. They're doing their thing. It's their level of consciousness, their level of awareness. Maybe they don't know any better. Maybe they haven't spent any time on it. They're totally successful in their career, or they're very just blinders on. It could be a science. It could be this. It could be that. They're just focused. And if it's outside their boundaries, it doesn't exist. Can you talk to us about, there's all different walks of life, and there's all different, this just giant, again, piano key, and that it's us too during the day, a pendulum swinging. We could be completely unconscious, yelling at the UPS driver or ourselves, and then 2 hours later, the most loving heart ever. And that's why you never know about anybody. Give them the right combination of ingredients in life, and then, whoa, what happened to that person? Yeah. Okay, so what's that all about?
Again, the thinkers of the world, somewhere down the line, it could even be 3 generations back. So the little kid like figured something out because their brain is very active. They have been valued. When in our human experience, in our cultural experience, we give value. Oh, you're so smart. And then the child feels praised at how smart they are. They're like, oh, good, that worked. Let me do more of that. Right? Or stop crying. We don't want any crying around here. Oh, that doesn't work. I won't feel my feelings then. So we've been trained like little monkeys, little doggies, like what works and what doesn't work. And sometimes to the detriment of the child, for the convenience of the parent, because guess what? That's how they were raised. I need you to be a good little boy. I need you to be a good little girl. So we get praised, right? Like good girl, good girl. And then we're like, okay, this isn't exactly how I feel, but if I need to fake everything, then fine. So they spend decades faking that they don't feel their feelings. So when somebody is very, very smart and they've got it all figured out, like I said, they have been valued that their brain is so smart, and they can entertain you so wonderfully because there's nothing here to share. So let me keep you occupied with all my knowledge and all my wisdom, and I will talk excessively so you can't ask me anything about this stuff.
Hmm.
That's typical. That is very, very typical.
Hmm. So the universe is really big. Angels, everything else is completely available 24/7. If a person was willing to just give it a go, they'd be very surprised.
Yeah. It's not easy at first because it's against construction. We have been constructed, like I said earlier, with the poison food and all the stuff and rah, 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 and climb the ladder and buy the thing. And we're not happy as a society. But when we simplify and we're like, nah, that's not for me, that's for somebody else, all this, influence and go, go, go and run, run, run and beat the other people. That's all constructed.
Well, I
And if
think
I
this
could,
is fair to say without getting into too much reality these days that's been going on the last 5 years. The media has taken a hit. I used to be a public relations guy for 18 years. The media has taken a hit. Science has taken a hit. Governments and organizations have taken a hit. I think people are much more willing to rely on themselves and their own belief system. And I think a lot of that is very positive. And so I think people still remain very supportive. I think there's a lot of elasticity within America and a lot of
yes,
tolerance for, we'll call it shenanigans or just people not maybe acting accountable.
yeah,
It's maybe surprising. I think if anybody remembers the 1970s, you might have said, huh, I would have thought that was a peak or maybe in the 80s. But I think it's the pendulum swinging or history repeating itself. We're at another peak of unbelievable amounts of this and that. But it's
yeah.
also a great opportunity to just ease off a little on the judging and just allow a little more.
Because of the cycle that I was talking about earlier, that 2000-year cycle, and we're now in the age of Aquarius. So all that patriarch power over, I'm in charge, you listen to me, slavery of different levels, right? Because you can have a 9 to 5 job and have your car and have your house and have your whatever, but it's still a slavery system because some people can't get out of that thing. But whatever, like whatever, who cares? So what? We're done. We're done buying into that. You can't have a team unless you have teammates. So you could have a leader, but if no one's signing up, you have no team. So I think what's happening in this age of Aquarius is we're awakening because that, we talk about the second coming of Christ. It's us waking up to our own Christ consciousness. It's that little ant going, oh, I really count. I really matter. It's the person in the boxing match going, wait, the angels and spiritual helpers are looking at me and my little actions and decisions are actually going back even to the ancestors if you don't have belief in other systems. So this is a time for self-awareness, self-empowerment, and more so self-resourcing. Because say you wipe out the two, or you just say, let's look at the last 200 years of history. Okay, shenanigans. Yep, okay. What was happening 500, 2,000 years ago? How were we living as people, as community? We were interdependent, we were tribal. Even earlier than that, we were nomadic. We knew how to work together. We've just got completely complacent and lazy on purpose because you can control people better when they're like that. I think we're just all waking up like Snow White, right? We've been kissed and we're like, what the hell? Who's been in charge around here? And we're getting back to very simple homesteading, gardening, just being with our friends and family, prayer, music. We're simplifying again to balance out because we've been out of balance as societies.
Grow your awareness, not your thinking. I've got a little bit of sage here. I'm going to light it. If you haven't seen this before, you get the chance at home. It doesn't matter what year you're in watching this. You get the chance to smell it. If you're sensitive or just consider yourself in the flow state or the zone, if you're an athlete, you're an artist, a musician, you know how to do this. You're in your heart. You're seeing the flame. You might start tasting the energy on your mouth. You might start smelling the sage through two screens. And give yourself permission if you need a little extra help, just ask the universe angels to get in here, get you out of here, get you into here, and tell them to make it nice in a fun way. Add a thank you, amen, rock and roll, om saram if you're from India. Here's a little bit of sage. And why settle for the linear? Yeah, you can smell sage. I've done this as a guest like 50 times in the last 2.5 years as a guest on shows, producers, audience, show hosts, two people at once saying, oh my God, and it was radio. in Brisbane, Australia. So the bottom line is ask for that, but you can catch flowers. If there's some sort of flower you had when you were in Bali or just the East Coast or West Coast of the US or Australia, ask for those flowers. Why settle? And then go for ocean, Noosa Beach, if we're still down at a snapper, if we're down in Australia. But if it's Antigua, the highest vibration from Antigua, the one part that you miss, ask for that, get the ocean waves. If anybody wants to close their eyes and get the whole visionary thing, you can just roll with it. You have no limits. Okay, Ursula, what are you getting in Atlanta? Sage smoke, yes?
Smoke, definitely smoke.
Anything else on top of it?
A little sea air, like salty air.
Nice. And I'll put up some of our favorite angels. There's a Joy, who's the emotion Joy, the ambassador, communicator. She's kind of cosmic or just everywhere. And I'll have to say it this way. Instead of the word joy, which we could use, I'll say love. Love is a constant. Love is everywhere. Open your eyes or just be to see love, to find it, to discover it, to come into it. You never lost or skipped a step or missed a beat. Can you chat with Joy about that concept? And she's Joy, the emotion Joy. Anybody who needs help, put your hand out, feel her like a fireplace, but instead of fire, sparkle, zip. If you try too hard, it'll be on your toes. You want to whoosh down your back. You want to see sparkles of pink all around you like confetti, but you can't sue me later for carpet cleaning. It's just made out of angel or universal light. Okay, what are you getting from Joy? And are you smelling anything extra? Is she bringing you the beach, the flowers, the mountains, the this, the that?
I smell some peppermint. And she's saying heart. Like this is a. It's interesting because I'm getting multiple images in my mind's eye right now. But if you take this is almost like a slice of a vein, right? So this is the end of a vein here, and that's like open up all of our heart strings. There's actually strings on hearts that when people suffer, those strings will snap. So it's almost like a harp, and there's strings on different parts of the heart. So there are heart strings. So this is almost like a cross section of a string. And this is also the middle of the heart chakra. So the heart chakra, the chakras are like a funnel. So they have a skinny end and then they have a wide, the funnel part of it. Each one's a circle. The top, each line in the middle, there's a chakral web, and then the skinny part, and then the very end. So the chakras out like this. So to me, she was like, just keep focusing on the shape of the heart and all the circles. The more we open the heart, it's like a little opening, but we open more. And it's not a push, it's a allowing, 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 allowing the love in. And then that softens everything, makes us more vulnerable, makes us allowed to feel our feelings and our emotions. And the direction is always self-love, because when we can love ourselves, regardless, back to compassion, then of course we have nothing but the same to give to everybody else.
Does she have a reminder for a baby step people could take tomorrow when they get off the show, stop watching, or even right now? What's something they can just do to try to connect or be or breathe or let go?
Back to the circle. The eye has all the circles, right? The pupil and then the iris. Look in the mirror, which you see another pupil and another iris. I love you. So just look into your own eye, your left eye specifically, and say, I love you.
I love it. And if anybody needs a bit of encouragement, the movie Angela, it's really Angel-A out of France, black and white, maybe 2010, Luc Besson. You know the guy because he's done all the Hollywood action, violent movies, the Transporter series, Joan of Arc, The Professional with Natalie Portman, Fifth Element with Bruce Willis. But he also had a Guardian Angel movie called Angela, Angel-A. And there's a scene where the guardian angel has talked her ward into angels can't interfere. You have to ask for the help. You don't have to know what you're doing, but you have to ask for the help. So of course, in most angel movies, if you've watched them from the 30s, the 40s and on to now, The angel has to basically do mental circles around the ward, the patient, the person they're supposed to help, and somehow solicit the permission to get involved. That's exactly what happens in this movie at the beginning. But later, she takes them, I think it's a Montmartre, the church all the way in the north of Paris. She's got her arm around them, and they're in a bathroom stall below the church, and they're looking in the mirror. And she says to him, I love you. And eventually she disappears in one of the most amazing moments. I think I have it in my fun video list on YouTube. If you can find the fun playlist that's sort of the least prominent on the whole thing, there's music videos in there from Radiohead, good for meditating, to this scene. She disappears as an angel and leaves him to look in the mirror and say to himself, his name's Andre, I love you, Andre. And I'll share one very funny synchronicity sort of moment. I was ignoring wake-up calls at 3:30 in the morning from angels, the universe, to get out of bed, get to my living room, and start paying attention. It's like 10, 12 years ago. I'd roll over in bed, and even when I woke up, I'd go put on MTV or black and white movies to just not pay attention, do the best I could. But the music video would be hello, hello, hello. I just came by to say hello. So they'd find Solveig Martin, the DJ, I think it is, and Dragonette would find a way, the angel would find a way to have something really funny as a music video. And then the black and whites would be angel movies. So this is one of them. And I came in on that scene actually at 3:30 in the morning. And all I saw was a woman disappearing in front of the mirror. And he says, I love you, Andre, which is my middle name. And at 3:30 in the morning, I'm like, what? And I'm just like, oh my God. And I was completely freaked out. So don't be freaked out by this. It's what she said, but you might have to say it 1,000 times, 100 times in a row until you break down your own boundaries or barriers. Whatever, your heart's ready to go. It's a Ferrari and it's like souped up, and you're already a professional Formula One driver, but you'll never know it. So what Ursula said, absolutely right on. Charlotte's going to give you something really fun here. If you don't mind putting up both hands to feel the vibe, people at home, I've only got one hand right now because I'm holding this up. Breathe through your mouth is an unofficial suggestion. It's like turning up the stereo volume, and you want to crank this one. She's like a teacher with words meant to help you expand. She's been around the block. Get anything you need. If you're already a rock star at all this, you're a healer watching at home, ask for anything and have a chat. And Ursula is a rock star. I'm going to throw a compliment out because she's trapped doing the exercise right now and she can't respond except smile. She's a rock star. I've spent, it feels like 100 hours by now with her, and I'm totally impressed. Okay, what are you getting from Charlotte, and what does she have for all of us, and what do you have for us?
Mm-hmm. This is that to me right now, because anyway, she transforms all the time. So in each moment, there's something new with her every time we talk with her. She says, see this as an I. And she's asking me or anyone who's listening to look, right? Because that's what teachers do. They teach us how to think. So she's like, look, pay attention. Just like you said, there's signs everywhere, right? They're like waving flags, right? They're like pumping brakes. They're causing kinds of things. So it's, if we could just see what was happening, we would say, oh, look, there's an angel. Oh, look, I left the house late and I'm frantic about being late about this thing, but then I helped somebody along the road, or I smiled at somebody, and made their day, or, we don't understand why the world is being given to us in this manner. But if we're having an eye for awareness, show me. A prayer that we can do throughout the day is show me love, show me the light, show me the way. And she's saying, look and pay attention. Look for us, look for the angels, look for the signs.
A third angel for you, that's Min, light waves of energy and water, a guardian angel for me, but I just had a doctorate tape who'll be coming out this summer on the show series. I released a little trailer. I usually don't do those anymore, but she talked about her guardian angel. She talked about divine healing, and the guardian angel is this angel. I've got her as a guardian angel. There's about 80,000 of us. You can ask her right now. Is it more like 100,000 of us all share the same guardian angel through her? What'd she say the number is? A lot?
Legions again, legions. So many. When I teach pranic healing class, we look into the sky And it's been there our whole lives every single day. And we will see little flashing lights.
Mm.
And that's prana, that's life force energy. She says, as many flashing lights as you see is how many angels there are. When you look in the sky and you see those stars, we can see probably a little bandwidth of the stars that are available to us. Sometimes you can see the videos from NASA and all of those telescopes. And they just keep going and going and going and going and going. She says those stars are less than the angels. Yeah, there you go. They're less than the angels that are available to you specifically. We've been assigned angels. They have been assigned to us, like, watch this one. And keep an eye on that one. Keep that one alive.
Okay, 3 Native American chiefs, Don Leif, Redshirt, Geronimo. So much fun, so down to earth. Treetops, their expertise would be helping anybody navigate from point A to B. The first two are very proper and formal. That's Don Leif and Redshirt, but Geronimo's more slang. Yeah, nah, duh. You already know the answer. So Don Leif is wisdom with some humor. Again, formal, catch what you can catch. But if anybody wants to catch a sacred smell, it could be tobacco, sweetgrass, juniper, pine, desert pinon, cedar. You get the idea. There's literally a ton of those. What are you getting from Don Leif in the air?
I did smell a flower, and I'm like, is there flowers right now? But I did smell a flower just right now. Anyway, I always get surprised. Anyway, so Dull Knife is saying, you guys, not guys, but I'm hearing that way, are way more powerful. When you study the Native American ways, we had obstacles and life was very, very, very difficult. But because we were able to inner resource, we found the power within. And they would come in and they would tell us, go now, fish here, listen to that, watch the weather, storm is coming. They would tell us because we were always listening. We are more resourced than we realize. We are higher, almost like our systems are much more sophisticated than we know. Like we're not babies, we're not ignorant. We are very fine-tuned elements. We are one of the most advanced beings on this planet. And when we start discovering that is when we will understand the power of the universe, because it's all inside of us. There's nothing separate.
And there's timing for everything, and every moment is the occasion. You can use me as a guinea pig. I'm not trying to heap any praise my direction, but I do end up doing things in a flow that is completely influenced by chiefs and angels. What's he say about that? I mean, it's a lot for about 10 years now. I'll do an inner outer voice, even talk to myself out loud, be like, it's time to vacuum, and I like vacuuming. Good luck with that, but I do. What does he say about all that? I'm a great guinea pig if you want to use me as an example. If you keep me out of it as well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, in order to stay in flow state, you have to trap. And I'm seeing a bear trap. Not that they use bear traps that I know of, but you have to trap that ego and hold it by the tail in a way. So all of that monkey mind stuff can just shut, and then we're in flow state. So you're very good at being in flow state. People, I'm sure, don't understand you, Michael, because
Not at all. I get hung
get,
up on. I mean, I'm at 10,000 no's, but 5,000 yeses. And it's enthusiasm that there's people who can't even make their meetings because they can't pick up on what the hell is coming their way.
yeah, you're so freestyle, and you bring in humor, and then you bring in all of these tidbits that you're like, what's he talking about? But because I can trail you, it's like hanging onto your coattails, and you're like, come along for this magic carpet ride.
I circle the ego. I'll describe it this way, and I'm about to read a
Yes.
Redshirt quote. The ego is
Yes.
in nothing but a crop duster from 1935, the first batch of crop dusters. So it's barely holding together. It only has a half tank of petrol. And so it can seem like you have to climb a mountain to get past ego. And I think it was Nietzsche that said the ego is the the dog that's in your shadow following you up the mountain. And when you get to the top, the views are great. You can't stay there. Thinking is going to come right back in. The dog beats you in the end a little bit. Then you remember to go back up the mountain here. The bottom line is the heart, angels, the universe, just getting out of your own way is that F-18 fighter, Super Hornet, whatever, that just can get around. I mean, the ego thinks it's intelligent, smart, cunning, and behind the driver's wheel, but it really can't last more than 30 seconds if you really have some patience.
Yeah, it's just louder, right? It's like kids at school. The loud one is getting all the attention. The quiet one is your best friend.
Mm. Red Shirt, who we're putting up next, he's deep, and anybody in a pinch, health, relationships, just feeling out of place, divorce, job loss, you name it, they always gravitate to him. Super soft spoken. I say gentlest mom in the world, but don't listen to me. He said once about compassion. No, that's Dolknife, but I'll read Dolknife's quote as well. Dolknife, compassion is being kind to yourself and letting go of past failures and accomplishments in the now. And then Red Shirt said about mankind, but also just life itself, how it's supposed to work. He said, be keenly aware of where your emotions are in each moment. So they're all deep philosophers, to throw another compliment their way. Here's Red Shirt wearing US presidential medal. Again, gentlest mom in the world. People can put their hand out and feel, but smell at the same time. And this is what I was talking about. Ego is so limited. It just doesn't have the ability to do. It's like the guy who jumps into a volleyball match from the stands that is interrupting the match and just slaps that volleyball to the sand. That's the ego. It can only do that once or twice. And I'm telling you, juggle 5 balls at once, ask for a sacred smell, put your hand out and feel the vibe, ask a question, listen, and even see a little bit of light or feel something in the room that's extra love. Your brain can only block 1 or 2 of those. The rest will get through like Missile Command in the 1970s. Your city is toast. What's Red Shirt got for you as a reminder to us all?
The ego is the noisy one. The truth is the quiet one.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. Last but not least, Geronimo will do young and older. The older, everyone needs a seatbelt. He's wonderful, and he's not proper formal. He's more like, yeah, nah, just do it. Duh, you already know the answer. So it's Marine Corps drill sergeant meets wily humor. He can do the 1930s. If you know Bowery Boys, black and white films, he can do that argot or slang or lingo from back then, stuff that you've never heard of, the 50s, 70s. He'll work with your personality to catch you off guard, to be on your toes and be the best you can be. So if I pour a little coffee for him in the morning in a demi-tasse, I'll hear, fill her up, bub. Who says that anymore? But I would laugh hysterically hearing that. So he has a way of being very sparkly, and this is the young Geronimo. Pure action, lightning bolts, dry wit, humor.
I just smelled jasmine, and I'm telling you, there's no more jasmine on the jasmine plant.
What's his reminder for everyone about just owning what they got and doing it?
He says, get off your ASS
Aw, and that's him.
and get it done. You can. The time is now.
That's so him. And I can still remember the original home I lived in Austin. There were these 4 bedrooms upstairs, these 3 paintings or drawings of the 3 chiefs. Dolknife, Red Shirt, Geronimo kind of kicked this off. They've been with me since 1970 when my dad died, long story. But I can remember people being nervous about going up to meet them and sitting and chatting to the pictures forever. Clipboard shaking, like I'm worried, especially about Geronimo. They just knew something was coming. But they'd be in there for like an hour because I don't sit with the person the whole time. And they would come out going, he's my favorite. Oh my God, he steals the show. So I'm going to make the point by putting up this older photo. And you got Jesus, Mary, Muhammad, Buddha, light beings, beings from Andromeda, all this other stuff, fairies, Thich Nhat Hanh. That's a lot of competition. He's still, if it's not the voice, but Geronimo holds his own. We'll say it that way. Here's older Geronimo. You can hear him loud and clear. Close your eyes if you need a little extra help, but let him come in. What are you getting from older Geronimo? And Ursula, get a couple of compliments from him. And if you need 3, what's the one you can share out loud to just do a little self-love for you? What are you hearing from Geronimo that you can share out loud? You're busted.
I'm the grandfather you never had.
Aw, and this is your life, the show. So you just, nobody's going to know that reference, but you just got busted a little. So congratulations. Okay. What's Geronimo got for us all as a reminder?
I just want to point out when you look at this man, this is how the elders, spiritual elders are. If you look into his eyes, you can't tell if he's a woman or a man. If you look at his mouth, his cheekbones, you can't tell if he's a woman or a man. When we incarnated souls develop into a certain vibration, we are genderless. Souls are genderless. So you can tell a soul has evolved incarnation by their almost androgynous both qualities. But back when you look at him, there's a sweetness and a depth in his eyes. There's a serenity in the way he holds his mouth. Many people, when they're sleeping or they're in meditation, their lips curve down. They're in a relaxed state, and he's not. That's a natural smile that probably is there when his eyes are closed. So he has a constant smile of peace and harmony. And in a way, he's telling us all it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. It'll all work out. It always does. And Michael, before you distract me in another direction, you are like the jester, Michael. So you're the wise counsel at the king's feet, and you're total goofy. But what you're saying is smarter than the sage, smarter than the wizard.
I don't know
Like
what you're talking about.
you're like the wizard. Like, so if someone's like, oh, this Michael guy, I don't understand him. If they can think of how your character is, your archetype, you're like the jester who's the smartest guy in the room, but is acting like the biggest goofball because he doesn't want you to know how smart he is. But if you know how smart he is, he's teaching you things the whole time. That's how I see you.
You can't tell anybody anything. And on top of that, let's say it's a bike teaching how to ride a bike lesson. Suppose I'm a dad and there's some kids over there. There's a lot of dads that get on the bike and tell you everything you need to know, and they're riding around on the bike. The kids never get to touch it or do anything. I love the opposite, which is, hey, let's get those kids on. We'll put the band-aids on first. And maybe the training wheels, no training wheels. There's people nervous, shaking. They're like, I don't think I can just do basic listening, basic feeling, basic seeing. But guess what? You get it all, and you are 1,000% capable. You can blow Ursula and I away combined, although not for her because she's actually really seasoned and she's an adult. So even though I'm 56, let's punt on this topic. Let's go straight to Thich Nhat Hanh, and he is just wonderful. When he transitioned, was it a whole 1.5 seconds? Was it a half second? The guy was like, boop, on the other side and already reconciled and ready, putting a shingle out. So here he is, but let's delineate 7 balls to juggle at once. Because if someone's like, well, I'm a 30-year healer, I'm getting this, I'm experiencing stuff. Great. If you're just like, oh, I don't know about this, even getting on the bike thing, I'm nervous. Do I have the ability to listen, feel, smell? Let's do 7 things at once with him. I think it's Vietnam. Get a Vietnamese Buddhist temple incense in the air, get some flowers, get some ocean smell. That's 3 different smells. Put your hands up, feel his vibe when I put his photo up. Let the photo move, wink, smile, nod, something. An eyebrow goes up, feel the most amount of love ever. Get a whoosh down your back and ask a private question. Don't do your hard ones. Do an easy one like, what do I need to know for June? What do I need to know for the spring, the fall, wherever you are, what time of life it is? What stage is this? What do I need to let go of? Here he is. And get all your senses engaged. And guess what? Your ego, your brain, your psyche can only resist like for 5 seconds for 1 or 2 things. Ursula, breathe through your mouth just a little, turn that volume up. And are you getting just socked?
Yeah, like there's 7 birds talking right now, and another fragrant from that direction. And again, gladioles don't have fragrance, and that's the only thing blooming over there. So
What's he got as a reminder for you? And if you could just feel golden light on your backside as a nonverbal compliment to you to say thank you while you're delivering a message to us via him and the angels.
he said, be patient. Everything is in order. Trust us. We have your back.
And I'm going to read a quote because as soon as you said that, I'm thinking of Fiona who was talking about the world, because there's so many graduation speeches. We got to go fix the world. We got to do this. There's governments, there's organizations, there's everyone telling you you have to control this, do that, do this. And Fiona's, you know, if it's the climate, if it's this type of global movement, you got to use these words. These are not okay. You can't just be and be free and be happy with exactly what you have. Fiona and Angel said, things don't need to be fixed. It isn't up to humans. Let go. What's your reaction to that with the highest vibration?
Yes. Okay. Back to the nonsense, shenanigans, to use your terminology, going on in the world. You can't fight ignorance. It is what it is, but you can outsmart it. So if that vibration is lower vibration, hate, power over, dominations, enslavement, then you can go, yeah, well, that's not working for me anymore. And you can just walk away. So a lot of people during recent years have left their job. A lot of people are not going back into the office because their home environment is giving them productivity. They're able to lay their eyes on their family and their kids. They're surrounded with their favorite things. They can eat healthier. If they're introverts, they don't have to go stress themselves out. Again, back to simple, back to nature. So we can say, you know what, I'm done. Like walking away from an abusive relationship is exactly what this is. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but all I can tell you is I've had enough, j'en ai marre, and I'm on my way out. So you just drop the bags. You let go of all the attachment, the titles and the money and the comfort and all of that stuff that you think is real, because it comes with a lot of pain. And you just wash your hands of it and say, I'm going to go. A lot of the younger people are doing that. They're not going to college because they can see the track and it's not for them. But we don't have many options these days. I made a documentary and it's winning awards right now, and I'm so excited.
Title of the documentary, where can people find it?
Not yet, because it's not out yet, but it's called You Are Not Alone, and it's a rites of passage for young adults and their parents. Okay. So because people are still stuck at home and living at home, the relationship is still being in the old way. And we need some kind of transformation experience to say, okay, you're an adult now. Yes, we're still living in the same house, but I'm not going to parent you anymore. You're going to have to be responsible and take your own things. And then me as a parent, I'm off the hook. I need to live my life. I need to start developing my gifts and purposes and repurpose myself. So a mother dedicates her whole self to be a mother, and then the kid goes and she's like, oops, who am I now? So now this is a time for her to say, okay, I get to reinvent myself. Who do I want to be? Alongside that young adult saying, okay, now you're not the kid anymore. You're a young adult. Get your act together, figure it out. I'm here if you need me. And then the transformation happens for both of them, and they can support one another as family members and grow into their own, on their own path. And it's very beautiful.
I'm going to throw some hand grenades into the love, fun, kumbaya that we've been doing this whole time on the show. Okay, so here's Charlotte, and she reminds us all that the Olympic gold medal for each of us isn't climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. It's just 7% less thinking a day. Get a calculator. I've done it 5 times. Cannot remember the answer. I think it's an hour and a half to 2 hours and 16 minutes, somewhere in between, of checking out of thinking. It could be anything. Read poetry, hug a tree, walk your dog, hug your dog, breathe, meditate, take a nap, shower, anything counts. Million ways to get to here, but you got 10 million ways that little crop duster will say, no way, Jose. That's one thought. Now, a quote from Angels. Ego is a temporary lack of compassion. I love that. Oof. Faith is not knowing, in quotes, not knowing in life while letting go and loving. Angels again, blame angels. Awareness is empowering, Plato. So it's whole, grow your awareness, not your thinking, which is all we generally tend to do when we go external in society. And just a couple more quotes. This is Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. I can now pronounce Rinpoche correctly in the last year. I've been saying it wrong for 12 years. Rinpoche. Whoops. Okay. The journey is real, more real than the waking dream of your usual life. Pay attention. Okay. And one more. From Angels. Boy, are they getting some credit today. Confidence will grow as you begin to own the process of letting go and being. What
Yes.
can you talk to us about? I mean, this is kind of all the A's. I don't mean like the baseball team, the Angels, but Angels, awareness, appreciation, attention, allowing. There's a few more A's in there. What do we do with all this?
It's almost like you've summed up all of the conversations that we've had around allowing, around letting go, around looking, right? When Charlotte came in earlier and she's like, look, pay attention. Looking is paying attention. So when we're looking for the angels, we're looking for signs, we're paying attention to all of that. And that's a heightened awareness. When I said go out in nature, specifically listening to the trees, listening to the birds, touching the trees, there's not a lot of chit chat going on. It wants to come in, but you're like, quiet. I'm being in nature right now. And they'll be like, blah, 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 blah. You're like, not important. And they'll be like, oh, whatever. And then when you're loving the trees and the nature and the birds, the ego is like, oh, she's doing her thing. Right? So they want to be quiet because they know you're feeding them. When we feel secure, when we have that confidence that you mentioned, the ego is being fed. It's almost like those baby birds, like, give me food, I'm so hungry, blah, right? And they're obnoxious, and the mother's like, here is your worm, now shut up. It's like the eagle's like, oh, I need to talk about nothing, and I'm going to stress you out, and I'm going to push all your hormonal buttons that make you stressed out. I'm going to make you, I'm going to activate line 1 and move you into unsettled. Then we become the boss and say, you know what, responsible, back to that rites of passage. We turn the spiritual path, getting on the spiritual path is a rites of passage where you're drawing a line in the sand and you're like, okay, ego, you're not in charge anymore. I've got this. There's a battle, and then you win, and then you're the compassionate one towards the ego. I know you're suffering. I know you got some stories. I know you're in these thought loops. I know your emotions are roller coaster. I'm not tagging into them. I'm not, look it, here's that cat. There's a cat that comes over to my house. I don't know where it comes from, who it is, but he just showed up right now.
Wait,
Hello,
Ursula,
cat.
what cat? No, I'm kidding.
There's a-
Okay, no, we saw it. We saw it. Okay, I'm gonna put 2 angels up. I'm gonna put up Archangel Gabriel and Charlotte. And can you get any amount of barrier protection for the years ahead, since this video is going to be played much more in the future than it is just yet? This is an opportunity for you to do your pranic love outwards, and with a great set of boundaries and checking with parameters from Charlotte and Gabriel, where you'd put your hands up and do something that people can attune to, tune into, feel with their heart, not their brain. But again, no energy coming my way. It's strictly you and the world and love. Hear from them anything you need to hear. People at home can put their hands up right now and feel the difference in energies. Put your left hand up to whoever it is, Blue or Gabriel, but put your right hand up to Charlotte or whoever. And now I'm going to pull away. Get your permission at home if you feel like you need permission from angels. You don't. Love is love, and details are details up here. Have fun. But Ursula is going to talk to us for 1 second, maybe, and do something.
Again, the circle, right? We talked about the chakra with the pink one, joy, and then Charlotte, the blue one with the eye. So this third one here, the white one, there's joy from the heart chakra. Yeah, Gabriel. Gabriel is the messenger. Archangel Gabriel is the messenger. This is another angel, so it's a different one. What came to me, as you said, how can we do the protection? Each of us, as an incarnated soul, has an electromagnetic bioplasm field. So it's measurable, right? We're putting off heat, we're putting off light, we're putting off energy. Why they haven't stuck wires in us and used our energy to, put the lamp on or run the refrigerator? I don't know. But if you think of how much energy is running in our body, how our blood is going so many miles an hour, we have an electromagnetic field. And that is also called our aura. It's about 3 feet around us, above our head, below our feet, into the earth and out. When they said, oh, everybody stay 6 feet away from each other, I'm like, how do they know about auras? right? Because if I'm 3 feet this way and 3 feet that way, and somebody else is 3 feet, my 3 feet and their 3 feet are not touching. When we are close in proximity, our auras interact. When you and I get together, we don't have to worry about, oh, he's stealing my energy. I'm blasting to you, you're blasting to me. That's how people who love each other, who are friends, who trust each other, co-workers, people who are collaborating, creating, musicians, their auras blend together and they lift one another up. That's how that happens. So when you're saying, when Charlotte says the aura, we're in the middle. And then if you want to know another thing, there's a thing called a Torah, where it's like a donut and there's spinning, spinning, spinning. That's also within the aura. There's so much movement going on inside of us. We're not tracking it. We haven't been trained, but this aura is protection. It's like a field of energy. So any negativity coming our way, if our aura is activated, you use the word confident. That's a knowingness. When we are in that space of knowingness that we are light beings, that we are tied to the universe, something else is beating our heart, breathing our lungs. Definitely not the 3-ring circus of the ego. So when we are tied into that and we have that confidence, CO is meaning with, connected. We are very, very connected. Our aura is strong. Other stuff cannot penetrate. It just flings off of us. But if we're not aware of our aura and we think, oh, there's a power over and those bad guys are going to come and get me, we've opened up our aura, we've shrunk our aura, we gave them access. But when we're like, no ego, no bad guys, no, 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 they cannot penetrate us because we're inner resourcing. And that's the direction of this age of Aquarius that we're all moving into, opening the Christ consciousness within inside of us.
I'm going to put up 2 angel photos in a second, Archangel Michael and Charlotte, but I'll do that quick. At a Celestine Prophecy, they do it this way, but as a guest just pointed out on the show, who has been around for a while, they said in the 70s, they also did it that way. You can see light between your fingers. But in India, they do it this way. Not everybody in India knows about that or says that. Every country is a really big country with different subflows, but there's a group of people in India that do it this way. You can just do it on your hand like you had diamond rings on. You're admiring the diamond rings or your dog, trees. I mean, guess what? Breaking news, everything is energy. Here we go. You get to see light at home, white, gold, green, 15 colors once, rainbow light. Put us on pause. Make sure you click like, subscribe, share, and check out her offerings. And then run out and buy a lotto ticket or go for that jog. If you're only going to do 3, you could probably do 5. That is not medical advice. This is simply a disclaimer at this moment. Do not listen to us. Do your own thing. Okay, here we go. I'll tell you a dad joke more importantly than anything else. Maybe my voice is not so strong. It's okay. Here's the dad joke real quick while I'm at the microphone, which is right here. Okay. Santa's reindeer, Blitz and Dancer, just those 2. Why do they drink so much coffee? Because they're Santa's Starbucks. Now you can see my energy between my fingers in just a second. And see a little filament of light. What color are you seeing?
I'm seeing a violet with a white. Yep, slow down a little bit so it can catch up. Yep. Yeah, what you're doing is pranic healing, basically, so people can see that energy. There's also a aura around the finger. So around the finger, there's a glow, and then in between the fingers are the lines as well. So all of us have, kind of like Edward Scissorhand, we all have these light rays coming off of our hand. That's why we were taught not to point at somebody, because you're sending them energy. If you're angry, and any child who's had an angry parent, like, you will not, like, that's like, ow, don't burn my eye with that. So we can, like, when we're shaking hands, we also have a palm chakra here. We are connecting. We're saying, yes, I share my energy with you. I have nothing to hide. I have no weapons in my hands. So this hand energy that you're talking about is very real. We just have not been taught it.
Let's find out, but let's get permission from Charlotte and Archangel Michael. We'll do a little exercise between us. Just here, you've got this at home. If you want to put your hand out again, the highest intent, nothing comes to Texas or Georgia or to you. Only our highest intent, our hearts. None of our thinking. I'll put my hand out as well. Feel what you can feel. Don't judge at home. Feel a little warmth, a little sparkle. This guy's going to do this. I got a little ink spot there. This guy's going to do this with Rainbow Light and Angels. Let's blame Angels now, or blame Canada, but we'll blame Angels. Feel some Rainbow Light come your way. I'll do it 3 times. The volume's low the first time. Sandbag. You know, you're not so sure about this. That's okay. Feel what you can feel. Maybe you're only feeling Ursula. She's a pistol and a bright light bulb the size of Milwaukee. Okay, here we go. A little bit of Rainbow Light your way. Are you ready, Ursula?
I go for it.
Okay, here we go. And how was that?
Nice. I could feel it come like that into my heart chakra.
Okay, now volume up halfway, but if people want to turn it up to 8 out of a 10, fine. No more sandbagging though, and let's go big or go home. You're already home, so let's go big. And this one, ask for flowers, ask for your favorite angel, your relatives, the whole kit and caboodle. I don't even know what that means, to support you. So you can simply receive more. We're not used to receiving. Love, self-love. We say love you in the mirror. We don't even know what that means because we're not used to just getting it enough. It's hitting a heart button. It's the controller in your TV, but you're the TV. Hit on 1,000,000 times a day. That's all this is. Tell a joke, laugh, smile, appreciate something, appreciate you. So here's that love, Rainbow Light. Blame Angels again, big time, because it's coming big time. Here it goes. And if people need to think of it away, think of it as, I guess, the base of your back up, knocking, like if each chakra is a bell, the Hindu chakras or the pranic centers. I think I used some lingo. Let that bell ring all the way up so you go, oh my God. And I'm not suggesting smoking, but if there's a pack of cigarettes nearby, get the cigarette at least on the 3rd one in a second. This is the 2nd one. Here it goes. And how was that? A little bigger?
Yeah, I felt that one up from my back heart up.
Beautiful.
And I did get more fragrance. I'm you know, I know
I
this,
do
right?
that. I run to my thermostat all the time. It might be off, but I just had wind in the room. I'm checking the windows. I cannot stop doing that. That's the brain's reaction.
Right.
You'd be like, wait, what? Check the closets. You're like, I just heard a voice out loud say, hey, welcome home. And you're like, whoa. Okay, here we go. 3rd one. Go big, go home again, but you're already home. So this is big. And if you want to feel a little wind in your hair after you've gotten it, people can close their eyes, let a little light show on your eyelids. But if you've got an issue, you could just use being smoothed out and walking a smoother path. How big will you go for the allowing? Is it just tomorrow, through the weekend, for the rest of the month, for the rest of the season, for the rest of the year? You'd have to have a lot of guts and confidence to say, yeah, I'll take blessing, goodness, fun, light for the rest of the year. Good luck with that. What will you allow for? Go big. Okay, here we go. And how was that? That's sort of like a cousin of the pranic healing stuff.
Yeah, very similar. Very similar.
Okay, talk to us about pranic healing or what's it all about, Alfie, and wrap this up for us about how we're already actually whole in some ways. We just don't know it yet.
We came in right on purpose. We came in from heaven on earth, and then we signed up. They're like, are you sure? And you're like, yeah. I need to learn this lesson, and just bring me in this way and you put these conditions on here. And I will learn the lesson this time. And they're like, that's kind of a lot, you know, you're going to forget you made this agreement. No. Check. Go ahead. I'm going to sign. And then we get in, we're like, what? Like, how come I have to do all this suffering? Right? So the point of all the suffering is learn the lesson. As soon as we can learn the lesson, the suffering goes away. Just like in school, when you finally figure out 2 + 3 = 5, and you got that drilled in, it's always going to be the same. So you're never going to fail in that question again. When we learn the lessons of why we were suffering, the no more suffering it's not necessary. You've learned the lesson. Anytime something's coming to us, ask, what is the lesson I need to learn here? A lot of it's going to be forgiveness. A lot of it's going to be compassion, the theme of our show. And that's the one piece. So pranic healing, Master Choa Kok Sui is the founder of pranic healing. Take the classes, watch Master Stephen Co. He is on YouTube. He's on all of the social medias. He is just giving out the information for free. Get yourself a pranic healing teacher and learn pranic healing. It is self-care. It is giving the foundation, the scientific, practical application of how to use energy as a tool in our lives, turn it around and share it with others. It's a no-brainer. It's way ahead of its time, but it is very timely now to do that inner resourcing that we were talking about with the aura, the light thing, all of that. You'll see energy, you'll feel energy, you can scan, you can test. Like, what should I do today? Should I say yes or no to this business thing? Da, da, da. So it's a set of tools that you can use for the rest of your life. The subconscious work that I do is called also parts work. There's a part of me that, the part of me who. So the traumas that we have experienced in this lifetime, past lives, mother's side, father's side, and collective consciousness. So my trauma is not all by itself. There's thousands of people who have done that exact same trauma. When we do these healings, it vibrates out and we heal that piece across the board. It's the deepest work I know to do. I've been doing it since 2010. It is profound. I'm amazed at every time people are going so deep and they're really unhooking and unlatching stuff that has been carried for generations. And this energy, once it dissolves, we bless it with love and kindness. We transform it and they expand, their gifts come out, their life starts changing. It's the most beautiful work to do. Back, just to round this up again, nature is really, really important. Just go out in nature. That is an automatic meditative state. Do the twin hearts with me or somebody else. That's a brain training meditation. It's a guided meditation, one of the easiest ones to do. And then focus on the breath as a tool. Reach out to me. I'm available. My website is ursulalentine.com. And there's a lot of YouTube stuff that you can watch and learn what I do, who I am. I'm here to serve. I'm here to uplift humanity. I'm here to help people find their purpose. And I think life is heaven on earth. It's just a matter of us discovering that.
Beautiful. Ursula Lentine, thank you very much for being on Angels, Positivity, and Love. Love seeing you. Love to have you on. And you'll be on a panel. People can check out the panels you've already been on, the Mind, Body, Spirit panels, so people can enjoy you and others interacting even more.
And Michael, I just want to say you are an angel. You are an angel. You are saved in my phone, Michael Angel, because you work with angels, but I believe that you are an angel and you're bringing your light and love to the world, and your joy, silliness, playfulness, depth, introspective, and just allowing others to shine is very humble of you and very gentlemanly of you and very leadership of you. You're doing things in such a circular way that people can't track you. And that's the magic and the brilliance that you have. I see you. I value you. I love you. You are a rock star. And you also are ahead of your time, like Master Choa and many of the others, the chiefs and everybody like that. So,
I don't wear a watch though. So
rock on.
I love that compliment though. Thank you very much, Ursula. It's great having you on. Till next time, and thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Please comment on something you liked, share this, and subscribe. Hit that notification button as well for the next time a video comes out. This is how we grow, help this channel grow. Ursula, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.